Hello folks, Kyle here, Dark 30 Outdoors. Hey, today I'm going to do a 3-year review on my Suzuki 9.9 4-stroke outboard motor. Yes, I did get it right around June 25th of 2021. So we're like 1 week short of 3 years that I have owned this outboard motor. And it has been a fantastic motor. I really love it. I'm going to get into some different categories and rate them individually, and then I'll give you my overall rating for the motor. Now, I'm not a marine mechanic. I can't get into the nitty-gritty and the components and the intricate details like that in regard to the motor and its function and all that. I'm just going to talk to you as a fisherman and an angler and a recreational boater and what I look for out of an outboard motor. There's 5 things, okay? Number 1, does it start? Is it easy to start? Does it take a long time for it to start? Am I going to be yanking on a rope for an hour and a half? So that's number 1, is does it start? As a fisherman, I just want my boat motor to start when I get to the lake and I can just go. Number 2 is going to be, does it run? When I get out on the lake and I want to get into wide open throttle, does she perform? Does she rock and roll? Does she just run like she's supposed to? Wide open throttle, we want to be zipping on down the lake. So that's number 2. The number 3 category that I'll rate this motor on is the shifter. Does it go from forward to neutral to forward, into reverse? Does that work like it's supposed to? Is it smooth or is it glitchy? Is it gimmicky? Do you got to kind of half in and half pull back and then? No, we want it to shift smoothly. Okay, and then number 4 is going to be the fuel economy. The whole fuel system, really. Is it a fuel economic motor? Does it sip the gas? Does it suck gas? We'll talk about the fuel line of the gas tank. Does it have issues? Are there problems with that? We want the whole fuel system to work as it should. That's what I'm looking for out of an outboard motor. And then number 5 category is maintenance. What is the maintenance like on the motor? Is it easy? Is it hard? Is it complicated? Do I got to take it to a marine mechanic to do the maintenance, or is it something that's simple enough that I can do it myself? So there you go. That's the 5 categories that where I'm gonna rate this Suzuki 9.9 outboard on. So let's get into it. Number 1, does it start? Let me tell you, I have had this outboard motor for 3 years and it has started flawlessly every single time. It has an electric push button start, so it's real simple. Typically when I get to a boat launch, I drop it in the water, tie it up to the dock, and I push the button and start it, and then I go park my truck. And that gives the motor a couple minutes to warm up while I'm doing that. It has never given me a problem. Number 1, does it start? Green button, push it. That starts pretty easy. Gotta love that. I typically get my boat out about 55 times a year. So it doesn't matter if it's the heat of the summer or even in December when the water is 37, 38 degrees, whatever, it's super cold. This baby starts like a champ. So for that category, I'm going to rate it a 10 out of 10. Starts every time, flawless, love it. Category number 2 is, does it run? When I get out on the lake, wide open throttle, does it run? This baby, she runs like a champ. Many of you know I did convert it from 9.9 horsepower to 20 horsepower, and that bumped my max speed from around 13.5 up to about 26.5. So I kind of doubled my speed. That kind of makes sense that I would double my horsepower, double my speed. I don't think that's always 100%. It kind of depends on the size of your rig and how much it weighs and a whole host of other factors. But yeah, I pretty much doubled my speed. She runs like a champ. And the 3 years that I've owned her, it's only hiccuped maybe 2 times. And those weren't occasions where it didn't run. Those were occasions where it just kind of had a hesitation or a hiccup. One, I think, might have been fuel related. The other one, I don't know. There was a ton of wind and waves and current hitting us, and a little bit more weight in the boat, and and I was kind of half throttling it because there was a speed limit of 10 miles per hour. So it bogged down and it didn't want to run. But in 3 years, those are the only times that it didn't run flawlessly. It still ran, it performed, it just didn't max perform. So for that category, I'll probably give it like a 9.5 out of 10, which isn't bad for a 3-year run. Okay. Number 3, let's get into the shifter. We're going from forward. We're going from neutral to forward. We're going from forward to neutral. And then we'll go from neutral to reverse and back. Does that perform like it should? Is it a smooth transition? Now, obviously, you got to throttle down. User error, sometimes we're too high on the throttle and we want it to shift and it won't, and it'll kind of hang up. But as far as shifting as it should, this motor has never had a problem. No hiccups, no hesitations, no problems, no glitchiness whatsoever in the 3 years that I've owned it. So for the shifting in and out of gear, I'm going to give that category a 10 out of 10. The 4th category is the fuel system. Now, most people would expect that a 4-stroke that is a 9.9 horsepower or even a 20 horsepower is going to be relatively fuel efficient. That's kind of the whole point. And this one is. It rocks it out. It sips the gas. Whether I'm trolling all day, 8, 9, 10 hours for muskie, or whether I'm maybe running and gunning, spot hopping for crappies or sawguys or whatever the case may be, it's been great on the fuel. And another part of the fuel line, I don't have to constantly fidget with that bulb. It's almost never has to deal with that. And then another thing, when I disconnect the fuel line from the motor or from the gas tank, does it spray gas everywhere? Is it real messy? No. It's very, very clean. It's efficient. It's not problematic at all. I disconnect the tank a lot to run it up to the gas station to fill it up, because why am I dragging my boat all the way up there? It's just easier to disconnect it. And that's pretty clean operation. It's not a problem. So that was category number 4. The last category is maintenance. What is it like to do the maintenance on the motor? Is it complicated? Is it hard? Is it something simple enough that an idiot like me can do it? Or do I got to take it to a marine dealership, a mechanic, someone like that that's a professional that's got to do it? No. The maintenance on this thing is relatively simple. I changed the prop, super simple, no problems. I changed the oil in it every single time, no problems. I changed the lower unit oil, no problems. I have not had to do the power trim hydraulic oil. I have not had to do that yet. And again, I mentioned that I converted it from 9.9 to 20 horsepower. I did that myself. So maintenance on this thing is really, really easy. It is something that I can do, and I'm not the most mechanically inclined person. I've got a few tools and I know a few of the basics. So I've been very, very pleased for that category. I'd probably rate it a 9.9 out of 10, just because nothing's perfect. I mean, just to install it on the boat, I had to get the Dremel out and cut one of the bolts so that I could get the nut on it. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to nitpick too much. This motor has been absolutely fantastic. For an overall rating, I'd probably give it a 9.9 out of 10. I've been super pleased with how it has performed for the 3 years that I own it, that I have owned it. I don't know if I mentioned the model earlier. I probably should have. Maybe I'll put it there in the top. But would I buy it again? Absolutely. If I was had an application where I needed another 9.9, whether it's trolling on a motor for a bigger boat, maybe replacing this boat with something similar, whatever the case may be, yes, I would absolutely buy this motor again in a heartbeat. Would I recommend it to anyone? Absolutely. So there you have it. That is the 3-year review on this Suzuki 9.9 horsepower 4-stroke outboard motor. I appreciate y'all sticking with me, and as always, thanks for watching.